Good to have an office, isn't it? Private office. Good thing the
Are you, Kendra? The time is 3 o'clock on Tuesday, June 24th. I'm calling to order the Board of Equalization. Today we have Commissioners Kelly Burmeister, Warren Mixon Klug, as well as our County Administrator Bonnie Moore, Kendra Kaler from the Clerk and Register of Deeds Office, Jeff Mikesell, our Treasurer, and Dan Pittman, County Assessor. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the boardroom. Please silence your cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up next is agenda item 4 is public comments. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to address the Board of Equalization? And if you could, please state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Conley, 8409 Molokai Drive, Papillion, Nebraska. Good to see all of you again. I'm here today as my role as a volunteer with Neighborgood Community Pantry. I serve on the board as a board member, and I serve as the treasurer. Today we seek your assistance and support to rectify an injustice. I've provided a one-page white paper on the matter, but in summary, Neighborgood Pantry, a 501c3 not-for-profit, purchased a building on December 30th of 2024. Prior to closing, I reached out to the Sarpy County's Assessor's Office to communicate this plan to purchase and to ensure that what we did everything that was necessary to make sure that we didn't have to pay any property tax and that we were exempted. So much so that literally the day we closed on the purchase, I filed Form 451, the exemption application, with the Sarpy County's Assessor's Office. In it, I put the year 2024, and that was approved by the board, but now they're claiming that it was for 2025 taxes, not 2024. The regulations for this Form 451 require, apparently, that it be filed by no later than November 15th, I believe, which would have required us to file the form for property we didn't even know we were going to purchase. We didn't even have a final agreement. The closing statement prepared by the title company did not allocate 2024 taxes to be paid in 2025, which is the normal customary practice by title companies. The only allocation of taxes at closing were for 2023 taxes paid in 2024, and we had the pleasure of paying 2 days of property taxes at closing. Sarpy County Treasurer is now demanding that our nonprofit, Neighborgood Community Pantry, an approved exempt organization, pay over $13,000 in property taxes due to a process that we were never able to comply with. I plead with you to rectify this, to not literally take food away from the hungry people of Sarpy County who we serve. I have two others from our organization who are briefly going to comment as well. Thank you.
Thank you for having us today. My name's Andrea Powers. I've been a longtime volunteer at the pantry for 9 years, served on the board for 5, and now the president of the board for 3 years. I want to talk about what $13,000 means to the pantry. First, the Food Bank of America, Food Bank of the Heartland, this past week put out their statistics for food insecurity. 9.2% were impacted by food insecurity in 2023. 12.7 in 2024. We're up to 13.8 so far in 2025. Last year, 1 in 8 individuals across the Heartland was affected. Now it's 1 to 7 this year. So it is incrementally going up and fast. In the last 2 years, there's been a 59% increase in childhood hunger. This isn't across the nation. This is right here in the Heartland. At Neighborgood, we've served the people of this county for the last 15 years. Last year, we served nearly 9,000 people. And that was a 128% increase from 4 years ago. Okay, so again, we are seeing nearly a 38% average increase every single year. So what does $13,000 look like for us? It's 14.4% of our annual food costs. It's 10 and a half months, full months of our MEC program. That is making sure every family of 4 gets milk, a gallon of milk, a dozen eggs, and a pound of cheese. If they have more in their family, they get more of that. 10 and a half months of that program not possibly funded if we're paying property taxes that we as a nonprofit should not have to pay. That's a part-time employee that can be writing grants and doing fundraising full-time for us, or part-time. It's delayed improvements to the building to make it fully functional. I think all of you know that we are supposed to be the first point of distribution for Sarpy County in emergency response. We've worked with Jesse Eric for over 3 years to make sure that whatever building we purchased or built was going to have that capability. Without the donation door, without the ability to put pallets and get them in and out effectively, we can't be that. So now you're talking about a delay in that program as well. It's also delayed commercial refrigeration so that we can give out more fresh produce to these families in need. So I realize you're not allowed to respond back, but I guess I would implore somebody on the board, I know, Andrew, you've been working on this. There has to be a way that this can go away. If not, I would welcome someone on the board letting us know, what program do you suggest we not do while we're trying to raise $13,000 for property taxes. Again, thank you.
Afternoon, board. My name is Joe Chase. I live at 902 McKenzie Drive in Papillion. I am a real estate broker in Sarpy County, have been since 1986, and I have volunteered to work with the pantry through the last 3 or 4 years to help them find their location. We were able to jump onto this opportunity with them, and only because we had to compete with someone else who had already created an offer and beat their offer. But the core that I'd like to address today is the Sarpy and Douglas standard for property taxes. I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the Treasurer's Office and Registrar's Office have created this Douglas and Sarpy standard that all the closing companies use, and that is whereas the seller of the property doesn't have to pay taxes the last year they live there. They are dumped on the buyer's lap. And that is only done in Nebraska and Douglas and Sarpy and nowhere in Iowa, Kansas, and South Dakota. It's only in Douglas and Sarpy County. The closing companies all dislike it because it's different than every other area they work in. This standard, once again, has been challenged by attorneys that I work with, and the attorneys on the other side say, call anybody at the courthouse, that's the standard. So even when it's partially written into a contract or alluded to in a contract, they jump back and say, no, this is how Douglas and Sarpy do it. We're not going to do that even though you come from another county or go to another county. This is the way it is in Sarpy County. This abatement process then kept the pantry from producing an apples to apples offer. If we would have gone in and said, here, we're going to do this, except for you have to pay the taxes for another year, they would have asked us to increase the price, the amount of the taxes or more, and they would have probably taken the other offer. So it becomes a real challenge. And that's why, Bill had gone the lengths he went to try to get that done. Using the Douglas and Sarpy standard, their property taxes are the only item at closing that a seller doesn't have to pay. They've got to pay their electric bill through the time they live there. They got to pay their liens. They have to pay everything else. They just don't have to pay the property taxes. And that's unfortunate, and it's really a big advantage to the sellers and not to the buyers. So we're not looking out for both parties in this deal. This inconsistency is popped up in a couple examples like this. When the county bought the building from Black Hills, it was an issue, and other times. So I suggest that moving forward, to keep the county on the clean side of this, they should remove that standard and encourage everyone to have property taxes at closing or for when you own the property. So the pantry needs this. This is a big thing. I put a lot of not only time but money into this, and so has a lot of other people. And it makes it hard to ask other people to give and contribute if we're not putting the money into helping people. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.
Is there anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? All right. Thank you. Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 5, which is the consent equalization agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Burmeister.
Second.
Second by Warren. Any discussion? Please vote.
Commissioner Kelly, are you aye? Okay, ayes 5, nays none, motion's carried.
Can we go back to the commissioners' comments? Did we do that?
We haven't
Not
done
there
it
yet.
Yet? We're still on B.
Says roll call, commissioners' comments, isn't that number 2?
We were on Board of Equalization before.
Okay.
Still, yes, I'm good. All right, moving to 6, the regular equalization agenda. 6.1 is tax correction 17608. If you have any questions, Dan Pittman, County Assessor.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Warren,
Second.
second by Burmeister. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion's carried.
All right, item 6.2 is a notice of valuation changes. Over-unders are 7. Once again, County Assessor Dan Pittman, should we have any questions?
Dan, I've just got one question on those. There's, in the list, there are all decreases except one increase. And it says it's on land value. Was it missed somehow, or how did that land value become increased? Down on 22, 23, the last 4 numbers.
Well, this document in comments only says lot valued incorrectly, and it is an increase, but if the county board does approve it, it will send out a change of valuation notice to the taxpayer, and they'll either contact the assessor or just go ahead and file a protest.
And it was increased because it had been missed?
It doesn't say on here, unfortunately, but it's it just says lot value was valued incorrectly.
Okay.
Any further questions for Dan?
I have one other question. It's not on anything there. It's, since we're talking about loss under storm damage or whatever, and filing for evaluation protest. So is it the right, excuse me, is it the right form to fill out a property protest if you've had storm damage to your house?
You can do that. There's another form that's called a damaged property form that they can fill out, but you have to have at least 20% of the total value of the property that's damaged. You can file a protest and cite the value of your home is less because of this event, like a storm damage, and we'd still be considered.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about hail damage to the roof and stuff. I know it's not 20% of the value. I just thought that there's...
You're bringing up that one from a couple of years ago. Yeah, sure, I would.
So I have to just file the protest?
Yes, please do. I think you should.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I want that. I had to interrupt here because I want that for another comment. But thank
Okay.
you. That's what I needed. Thanks.
All right, any further questions for Dan? Further discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Warren. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Angie, are you an aye?
I'm an aye, yeah.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion's carried.
All right, there's no need for executive session this afternoon. With that, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Equalization is adjourned. All right, the time is now 3:15. I'm calling to order the Board of Commissioners. We have Commissioners Kelly, Warren, Burmeister, Mixon, and Klug, as well as our County Administrator Bonnie Moore, Kendra Kaler from the Clerk and Register of Deeds Office, our Treasurer Jeff Mikesell, and Assessor Dan Pittman. Item 3 is public comments. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to address the board before we move on to the rest of the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to Commissioners and Administrators' comments and announcements. Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, thanks. I have a lot of questions about what I heard earlier that I guess I can't ask. So can I make a request that we have a public hearing on this in a couple of weeks so we can discuss the matter?
Yeah, we can talk through next steps on that for sure.
Okay. Does a couple of weeks work good for the pantry folks? And I just say a couple of weeks because that way I think we'll have max participation and give everybody time to get their questions answered, hopefully, and I appreciate that. So thank you. In terms of comments, I just, this is a great week to be an American. Very proud of our United States Air Force, very proud of our country and the actions they've taken to make the world safer in the last couple days. So kudos to them.
Thank you for working us through the next items with the pantry. My comment is generally there are a lot of things that come before this board that we don't have authority to act on, and that's frustrating for us. But we have to act within the legal authority that we have. So it's difficult when we can't do what we want to do sometimes. So appreciate it.
No comment.
My comment will be a general one to anyone listening to this, because there's a little unknown piece that we have, and it's on storm damage. And the question I asked Mr. Pittman before was about the storm damage and how you go about, even though it's only damage to your roof, how you go about protesting that. And I don't believe the way it's set up currently that you can do that. You can protest and you can have your value lowered by the amount of damage. But to me, I don't think it's right. I'm going to go ahead and do this just to prove a point. I still don't believe it's right because damage happened in 2024, and just because I couldn't get my roof fixed in time, I can now get a property tax break and have my roof fixed in 2025. It's a timing issue. If insurance is involved, and the one argument, because I've talked to a couple other assessors at other counties, and the argument is, well, your house as of January 1, when the valuation is applied, is damaged at that point. And my argument back is, yes, but typically all of that is covered by insurance, and it's a timing difference. And if you would sell your house before it was fixed, and if you've made the right filings with your insurance companies, you have 1 year in most cases. State Farm allows 2 years to have it fixed. And you have enough time to do what you need to do. And if that doesn't allow you enough time, they usually give you some additional time. But the point is, it's a timing issue. I don't think anybody should realize a tax break. I think that's unfair to the other people paying taxes because the house is going to be fixed the next year. No harm, no foul. Now, I'm not talking about severe damage where you're not able to live in your home. I'm talking about exterior damage that doesn't force you out of your home. So anyway, I just wanted to raise that point. So if you've had storm damage last year, go ahead and you don't have much time. You have until the 30th of June. but file a protest for the amount of damage, and because that's currently what's being allowed.
No comment, thank you.
Can I have an alibi?
Sure.
Thanks. Or maybe it's a mulligan. No. I just wanted to thank Congressman Flood. Administrator Moore and I met with him on Wednesday, and he brought the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee from the U.S. House of Representatives to breakfast, and we had a great discussion and dialogue about funding opportunities for the Platteview Expressway. So public shout out to Congressman Flood for setting that up and working on behalf of the citizens of Sarpy County.
Thanks, Don. I have no comments other than I reflect the comments of Commissioners Kelly and Burmeister. With that, we'll move on to agenda item 5, which is the consent commissioner's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, moving to the regular agenda, item 6.1 is a public hearing and recommendation to the Liquor Control Commission for TFL Inc., DBA Mega Saver for Class D beer, wine, and spirits off sale only for business at 10025 South 168th Avenue in Omaha, Nebraska, 68136. Alyssa Ray, manager, if you'd like to speak. Welcome.
I'm Alyssa Ray. I'm here on behalf of TFL. I'm here if you guys have any questions. I think we have a couple stations already in Sarpy County, so.
Thank you. Any questions? Entertain a motion?
Public hearing.
Oh, yep, thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anybody from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and now entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve a recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Kelly. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Welcome to Western Sarpy County.
All right, 6.2 is public hearing and resolution 2025-157, increase appropriations for the 2025 fiscal year, proprietary and special revenue fund budgets. Dan Tlakis, CFO.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. 2 county funds received unanticipated revenue during the fiscal year and subsequently utilized cash from those unbudgeted, unanticipated revenues to support additional expenses. The Series 2022 Road Bond Proceeds Fund received unbudgeted interest revenue, which was then spent on road projects. And the South Sarpy Watershed Sewer Operations Fund received unbudgeted sewer fee revenue due to the connection to the wastewater agency line going live and began remitting fees to the agency for treatment of that sewage. This public hearing and the resolution before you will formally increase the expense budgets in both funds for fiscal year 25. The public hearing has been advertised and the amended fiscal year 25 budget will be resubmitted to the state auditor's office prior to the end of the fiscal year with your approval. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, second by Mixon. Please vote. Or any further discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, up next, 6.3, Resolution 2025-161 is an increase in appropriations for the general fund 2025 fiscal year. Departmental budgets, once again, Dan Tlakis, CFO.
Good afternoon again. Several general fund departments are in need of additional appropriation in their fiscal year 25 budget as outlined in the resolution and supporting documentation. The overages generally are offset by underspending in other division-controlled departments and/or higher departmental revenue than what was budgeted as well. This resolution allows for the transfer of $618,000 between departments in the general fund. In total, the general fund is projected to be about $5.4 million under budget, and other than property tax, is projected to receive about $11.7 million more revenue than was budgeted. This resolution also would allow the fiscal office to make additional transfers if anything unexpected occurs in the last week of the fiscal year, and we would update the board if anything changed with that number. This will also be a part of the fiscal year 25 budget resubmission to the state auditor's office prior to the end of this fiscal year. And again, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion's carried.
All right, up next is agenda item 6.4 is resolution 2025-159, Standing Stone Center lease agreement with Gretna 2 LLC for the lease space at 11910 Standing Stone Drive, Suite 102, Gretna, Nebraska 68028 for the Sheriff's Office. Jacob Betzworth, Chief Deputy Sheriff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We talked several times over the last few months about this initiative from the Sheriff's Office, and that is to lease a space at 11910 Standing Stone Drive in Gretna as a West Precinct. We've never had a precinct before. And some of you who've been around Gretna for a while know that we borrowed some space in the old city building. We've borrowed some space in the fire station, but never really had a place to kind of have our own. So as an initiative that kind of started even before I came back as the Chief Deputy, was to make this space there for more visibility, have it be a response hub for our Western Sarpy County response from our road patrol. And to continue the support of the city as we are their law enforcement arm for the city of Gretna. So just real quick, I want to thank a few people. In attendance today are Mayor Mike Evans and City Administrator Paula Dennison. They've been instrumental in this as well as we support the city of Gretna. I'd like to thank the board for all your continued support. You've had to listen to me a few times about this, so and especially Commissioner Warren. I know it affects your district very much so, and appreciate you making time to speak with us about this. And then lastly, a couple of shout outs, Captain Bolt from our Road Patrol Division. It's been a huge initiative of hers from the very beginning, and so just happy to be able to support her in that initiative. And then lastly, we used Brian Thomas as our commercial agent in this, and he worked his tail off as he tried to find us a place that fit just the right bill. So
Thank you, Jake. Any questions, comments from the board?
No, I was going to invite Mike Evans up. If Mike could come up. Mike is Gretna's mayor, and maybe he could make a comment in regards to what this means to you guys. I should have told you about that, shouldn't I?
Welcome, Mayor.
I think I'm a day early, aren't I? Yeah.
Right on time.
No, thanks, Chairman and Commissioners. The great thing about Sarpy County is that we work together on so many different things. I think that really separates us from a lot of counties and entities throughout, maybe even the Midwest. And this is, your investment in our part of the county, whether it's roads or sewer or just the presence of the sheriff really makes a difference in our community, and we've had a lot of success. And because of you guys, we're doing some fantastic things, and we're so appreciative of the partnership. And this is another great example of the partnership that we've had with the sheriff. I mean, they're fantastic. Without them, we'd have to start our own police enforcement. It creates layers of government and duplication of services, and it's just a great way for our citizens to be safe and protected. And having a presence out there really does make a difference, every day, because the kids and everybody looks up to these guys, and seeing them out there really makes a difference. So I appreciate your support, and not on this, but everything you've done, it really makes a difference. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Hey, Mayor, Mayor, I have one comment. I said, were you able to take Commissioner Warren? And I know you're going to have to do this going forward. You're going to have to take the deputies and show them all the gravel roads. Because I
think they're
keep
pretty
hearing
acquainted by now,
everything's
but-
gravel out that
Yes.
way. So
It's changing.
make sure we got everybody covered on what roads are paved and what are not
Yeah.
paved.
Well, appreciate that. I mean, it is such an evolving community. We're losing a lot of our gravel roads, but gosh, you guys are great partners, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Mayor?
The only comment I've got, this is a partnership between Sarpy County and the city of Gretna. And also, there's one with Springfield that's been going on for how long, Greg?
Long before I started.
Well, I was actually in on the original negotiations. It would have been back in the early 70s sometime. And it was set up to be a win-win situation for the sheriff's office as well as the city of Gretna. And now then, over these 50 years, whatever it's been, it's progressed into a very good relationship. And I'm excited to see this next step forward that the county, through the county sheriff, is willing to take. And I think it's going to lead to that continued partnership for years to come. So saying that, I'd like to make a motion for this 159.
Second.
We have a motion by Warren, second by Mixon. Any further discussion?
I just, I share Commissioner Warren's sentiments, and one of the things that I think the board is really going to be tuned in on is to make sure that we right-size that support, because visibility equals public safety in my mind, and Gretna is the fastest growing area out there, and I want to make sure that we have adequate coverage out there, not only for Gretna, but also for the city of Springfield, and that takes resources, and that's our job to find the money to pay for those resources. But I think it's critically important because without a doubt, it's the fastest growing area in our county, and the needs are going to arise, and they're going to arise quickly, I suspect, and that's all good. So I just asked the mayor and the administrator from both Gretna and Springfield to keep us posted and make sure you guys are getting the support you need. And if you're not, ring our phones and make sure you tell us about it so we can make sure you get it. So congratulations to the sheriff's office, to the city of Gretna, the city of Springfield, who are going to benefit from these increased services. And as Mayor Evans said, that takes partnership and a collegial environment that exists in Sarpy County like probably no place else in Nebraska. And I know that sounds a little hackneyed to say that, but it's true. So congratulations.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, agenda item 7 is executive session, which we will need this evening for a legal matter.
Okay, for the protection of the public interest, I move we go into executive session to discuss a legal matter.
Second.
A motion by Kelly, second by Burmeister. Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried. Yes.
All right, it is now 4:07 at 3:33. We went into executive session where our discussion was restricted to litigation. I need a motion that we returned to.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mixon, second by Burmeister. Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
That was almost the quickest one I've seen yet today.
I like that. Can we do that all the time?
I think we should make a decision
Bonnie, I think,
at some point.
yeah, it snaps
That,
apart. You can
if we don't get that
re-see it.
system
I'm
fixed.
good.